Hi, Jeremy Webb at Right Sports Therapy. Just wanted to talk to you today about some things to do for tight hamstrings. Maybe you haven't thought about them already. Just wanted to, before we talk about the specific things you can be doing, just wanted to talk about the principles behind what I'm going to be asking you to try. And the key thing is the hip flexor tension. So hip flexion being this movement here. Just show you that again for the camera there. So lifting the leg up. Now this movement will, if it's inhibited in any way, more on that in a moment, will inhibit your ability for your glutes to kick back. Now hip extension. Now the other muscle that assists in hip extension are the hamstrings. So working backwards through that, if the glute isn't firing properly, the hamstrings will normally be tight because it's asking the hamstrings to do more work than it will normally do. If the hip flexor is tight or inhibited in any way, that will mean that the glute is also inhibited. So actually, to start this off, to get the kinetic chain working in the right order, we need to start with hip flexion rather with hip extension, as you would logically think with hamstring tension. So that takes us even further back to the connection between the hip flexors and the diaphragm involved in breathing. And that's why we recommend lots of kind of relaxation breathing is probably the start point for hamstring tension. And we do see an increase in hamstring tightness with increased stress levels as a rough rule of thumb. Obviously it's a lot more complicated than that. So in terms of stretching, you might not have considered previously for the hamstrings to try and address the underlying reason for the tightness in the hamstring. Any kind of hip flexor stretches, so in yoga like a cobra or a seal, something along those lines. We've got some links to a hip flexor stretch on our YouTube channel as well. Have a look at those. So that's for the opening through the front. Then I would also recommend stretching the glutes as well. Again, I'll try and put a link to the glute stretches at the end of this video. And try this out for yourself. Try a hamstring stretch before you try any of these stretches. Then do some glute stretching and then do a hamstring stretch afterwards. Ask yourself, does it make it any better off the back of that? And then finally, there's some hamstring stretches, and again, we've got some more of those on our YouTube channel. Other things to consider are the connection of the hamstrings to the adductors on the inside, so muscles attaching into the groin and then down by the inside of the knee. We have the quadriceps at the front, you may know, the adductors and then the hamstrings. It's actually this little separator here between the adductors and the hamstrings that can actually cause an extra amount of tension in the hamstrings. So again, we recommend stretching out the adductors as something to try and release those hamstrings. Just different things, different ways of looking at the cause of the hamstring tension rather than just stretching the hamstrings themselves. Particularly worth a go if you have been stretching your hamstrings already and just don't seem to be getting any improvement or any results. Hope you find that useful. As I say, links to all of those stretches I mentioned on our YouTube channel and across our website. If you enjoyed this video, find it useful, please go subscribe, and as I said, more information on our website. Thanks very much.